In this section, we're going to talk about some application problem. For example, this one, a large mixing tank currently contains 200 gallons of water, into which 10 pounds of sugar have been mixed. A top will open, pour in 10 gallons of water per minute into the tank. At the same time, sugar is poured into the tank at the rate of 3 pounds per minute. Found the concentration in pound per gallon of sugar in the tank after 10 minutes. So when you start the application problem, always start with the questions and then the numbers. What number do they provide? 200, 3, 10, and 10. So circle this important information. Okay, so what do they want us to do? They want us to find the concentration. And they give us the unit is in pounds per gallon. So write this down, pound per gallon. That gives us so much information because with the unit, we know that what ratio we're looking for. So pound is the unit for the sugar. So that means if the numerator is sugar, and then look at the denominator. The denominator is in gallon. So that means the denominator has to be in water, because that's the unit. With that, we can have pound per gallon. Okay, so what's the sugar? So sugar start with 10 pounds and they add 3 pounds per minute. So that means it's 10 plus 30. And then water start with 200 gallon and then they add 10 gallons per minute. So that's it. That's the equation. So Fx equals to 3t plus 10 over 10t plus 200. We usually write the variable in the front and the constant, which is the number, in the last. Okay, next question. Okay, here's the next question. A circular cylinder has a volume of 100 cubic inches. Found the radius and the height that will yield the minimum surface area. S is the radius in inches. Okay, so let me draw a cylinder. So this is the cylinder, and the volume of a cylinder is equal to the surface, the bottom surface. I should be more, because I don't like memorize all the formula. We have so many formula, but you need to understand where does that come from. So it's come from the bottom, this part, the circle area, multiply the height. We don't know the height yet. So this is the height. And the area is a circle, so that means it's equal to pi r squared times the height equals to the volume, which is 100. So that means if we convert that, solve for h, we will get the height is equal to pi r squared over 100. Oh no, sorry, should be divided pi r squared on both sides. Okay, now surface, we're trying to find the minimum surface area. So the surface contains two parts or three parts. The top and the bottom, I consider that's the same because that's 2 times the area plus the middle part. The middle part, when you open it, the surface is going to become a rectangle. So that means I need to add the rectangles. Okay, so the top and bottom is equal to 2 pi r squared plus the rectangle area is equal to what? The length times the width. And the length is the parameter of the circle. So that means it's 2 pi r for the length. The width is the height. So that's the surface area. And then we need to use x to represent the radius. So that means I need to change all the r become a x. And now we have two variables. We have x and h. But however, from the first step, we found out that h is equal to 100 over pi r squared. So now we can substitute that into the function. I have the surface area is equal to 2 pi x squared plus 2 pi x times 100 divided by pi x squared. Simplify it. Pi and pi cross cancel, x and x cross cancel. We have 2 pi x squared plus 100 times 2, which is 200 over x. You can find the common denominator. Now, we want to find the minimum area. Find the radius and the height that yield the minimum area. So that means we get the surface area is this function. Now, we can use decimals and find out where is the lowest point of this function. We have a y equals to 2 pi x squared plus 200 over x. Okay, so they can be negative. All the x has to be positive, right? Because x represent the radius, we need to restrict that all the x should be greater than 0. So that means here's the graph. So the lowest point is here. Should be 2.514 something something. So that means the minimum surface area would be 119.265. I'm going to take this down. And then, with the height, what we just found, x is equal to 2.5154. Remember that this is the radius. But look at the question, what we're trying to find. They want you to find the radius and the height that would yield the minimum surface area. The function tells us the surface, S for surface, and also the x is the radius. We haven't found the height yet. But the height is in here, our first step. So that means we can substitute the number to find the height. The height is equal to 100 over pi times 2.5154 squared. So, and then you just calculate it in decimals, find the minimum height. So in application problem like that, it's very important to keep track on which variable represent what. Because if you don't know, you might end up to just find out the minimum, the radius that yield the minimum surface area. Doesn't mean this is the minimum radius. And then we also need to find the height by substituting back to our first function. Okay, that's it for this section. See you in the next video.